afternoon. Hopefully I'm a lot more relaxed this time around than I was this morning. And if anybody is out there, is there anybody out there? Please say hello so I know that I'm not alone in the universe, in my whatchamacallit, jellyfish universe, right? All right, I'm going to just go ahead and get started as if you're there. I have my mic. How's it working? How's this lighting? Um, it looks a little dim, but we'll just go with it. Please share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Turn on your notification bell to ring, s'il vous plaît, and hit your like button. So yeah, I told you guys I'd try to come on this afternoon, and I did. I think I came on for a minute a second ago. Now I'm on again, and there's no one here with me unless you're there and I just can't see you. Live chat. No one's here. Okay, boohoo. We'll just keep it short then. Well, I like to follow through on what I say I'm going to do. So I did say that on this afternoon live, Fred, hola, whoever sends me the first comment after the video is over will win these little one-legged nutcracker pogo stick abstract beaded earrings that I just freshly made hot off the press last night. I've been intending to make them for, I don't know, 3 years, 2 years, something like that. I've had all the ingredients right there ready to go and just never got to it today until the day before yesterday, and then realized I didn't have all the right ingredients. So I had to struggle with the little arms, and I finally got the arms done yesterday. So they're now complete, and they're adorable, aren't they? Not to toot my own horn, but I didn't design them. I assembled them. I did not design them. So I don't want anyone to think that I came up with the brilliant elf pogo stick idea. So if you notice, they don't match in their arms. One has light, like a lime green, bright green, and the one that has like a really dark kind of olive green set of arms. But other than that, I think they're a perfect match. And you know me, I don't like to be perfect, and I don't like things that match perfectly either. So let's get on with the content, Fred. Thank you for coming in, and especially thank you for saying hola, so I know that it's working. Can you hear me? Just hit a 1 if you can hear me, Fred, or anyone else that's out there. I've got my new mic. I'm so excited. So I can get through this last week of my laptop being MIA. And yeah, I mentioned earlier, we did actually go invest in another laptop, but I just don't want to sit down and do a tutorial to learn it because it'll take me like a week to figure it out, and then I'll have my old one back. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate it. I appreciate the 1. So yay, the mic works. That is way cool. Finally, you know what, 5 weeks into this mess, I have a mic that works. And I have another mic for the laptop when it comes out of prison. So this morning, I was very rushed. I ended up taking a full hour on the live that we did. And so, yeah, I kind of got myself into a bit of a bind. It wasn't too bad. But now that I'm back and it's just about 1:30 here on Tuesday, December 11th, I think I actually only have another hour, so it's hilarious since I was so rushed this morning, but I thought I was going to have to cut it short at 40 minutes, and I meant to, and I didn't. and now I think we have about a full hour, give or take. So the things that I was covering so quickly, and I don't like doing that. I'd rather prepare and slow down and produce a kind of a better end product. But on the other hand, I'm just me. You know, I work full time. I have 4 kids. I'm doing, not to brag, I'm doing a yoga certification, teacher certification program. You know, I goof off and make jewelry. And what else do I do when I'm goofing off? Make cute little sets for, you know, sitting here talking to you guys, or the one that I photographed and put up in the middle of the night last night on the community tab. Check it out. It's adorable. I have to pat myself on the back for that, for finding the squirrel cult. So if you're interested in a squirrel cult, I have a photograph of a squirrel cult doing a ritual on my community post, and it's adorable. So I can see your chat. Hello, Justice and Fred. Mom first, always. I'm so excited to send you your earrings. I haven't looked yet to see which ones you won. Do you remember? Was it the red pair or the black pair? I have them nearby, but if you remember, otherwise I can go look at the video that you won them on. But I have everything ready to get it set up and send in the mail. So thanks for sending me your address. Any more about your computer? Yes. So a few days ago, they said that they will have it repaired or replaced by the 17th at the latest. And we went ahead the day before yesterday and purchased a new laptop anyway, so that we would just have an extra, it's kind of like having extra money. I always say there's no such thing as extra money, but I guess if you're Bill Gates, then maybe, right? But anyway, back to the point. So the laptop should be back by the 17th, and I hope so. And if not, then we have the other one and I can figure out how to use it. It's completely different than the one that I use, the gaming computer that I use for my video production. So back with the cell phone, and I'm kind of getting used to it. I got this mic and we're ready to roll. So, oh, the red pair, that's what I thought. Yeah, the little teardrops. So cool. I will get those sent out probably tomorrow. And so you'll probably get them by, I would think, Saturday. All right. So I kind of snuck too much material into that video this morning that I was rushing through. So I just wanted to kind of digest it and process it with you guys. My main thing is that we get so gaslit and we forget that Kiely did not drown. We all knew this way before the autopsy came out. We were like, if there's water in her lungs in the autopsy, we know that she went into that water still alive. If there's no water in her lungs in the autopsy, then we know she was already unalive before she entered the water, right? We all told ourselves and each other that dozens and dozens of times, if you remember. I remember. And then the autopsy came out and there was no water in her lungs, but it said she drowned. So we've had medical professionals go over it with a fine-tooth comb, and I mentioned earlier, Kaz thinks, I think she is a nurse or maybe even a nurse practitioner. She went over it very well with her little mustaches, and that was so cute. And then thank the good Lord for Dr. Latina, who went over it very professionally and evaluated and told us her professional opinion. And that's a really, really difficult thing to do professionally, is to counter someone else's professional opinion. Although professionals do it all the time, like you always want to get two physicians that concur before you do something like surgery. And often you will get differing opinions. But it's just something that as a professional, you are always going to be very self-conscious about second guessing someone else's work. And it's just considered more professional not to. So it's a very tricky business. And we thank her from the bottoms of our hearts for doing that and educating us so well. And other content creators have done it too. I would imagine Sleuthy Goosey probably did it, because I'm pretty sure she's a nurse or a nurse practitioner. But I think she does most of her stuff on a different platform that I don't watch any other platforms other than YouTube. So please hit your like button. Everything I say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation, always hoping to open up a very healthy and diversified discussion with you guys. and every video I make is for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. So if you have a differing opinion than me, then just leave. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I'm kidding. I like to say truth to every joke, but no, I absolutely invite any and all opinions. Just be polite is all I ask. Like, don't be a troll, right? It's great to discuss different ideas, different opinions. And I didn't mean to shut the person down this morning who was talking about Kiely's gear shift maybe being tricky and having a little thing, you know, a trick to use it that only she would know or someone who she told directly. And that's quite a possibility. I was just trying to like stay focused. So I was like trying to nip it in the bud. Like, no, let's not talk about other possibilities. Let's just, because I was just trying to get my information out there and wrap it up. So I apologize. Absolutely. Her car, most cars have little idiosyncratic things like that, that if you don't know the idiosyncrasies, anyway, if you don't know the ins and the outs of that specific particular vehicle, you might not be able to operate it. So maybe that was what was going on when the roadside assistance guy was called. Although, you know, I really questioned the roadside assistance call altogether. And the very first response I had, the very first time I saw Nick G talking on that AWP, like when it was, you know, fresh out of the gate, you had to pay the extra $5 to see that video on the first day. And I did. And as he was talking and talking about the seat belt and talking about the actual belt, I thought, dude, are you just trying to explain why your fingerprints are all over her seat belt and her actual belt? Because it kind of seems to me like that's what you're doing. Although by the end of it, I was convinced that he was telling the truth. I fell for it. And I say I fell for it because for an entire year, I continued to fall for it, roughly about a year. And then it was when he was not on Squirrel Girl's channel, when he said that she could interview him and then she could make a video about it. When I watched that, and I trust Squirrel Girl entirely and completely, but I didn't trust him anymore because I was like, why would he do it like that? Why would he say that? And then same type of thing with this real recent CCTV quote unquote interview with Nick Wren and Devin, that controlled, contrived presentation. This is going to sound really bad. It's not that I think that these guys are involved. It's just that it reminds me completely of the Barry Morphew 26-second pre-recorded plea for Suzanne Morphew's safe return. Like, people had been trying to get him to speak on the news to plea for her return, and he said it's too early, and then he put that little 26-second video out, I think on day 8. And with this, calling this an interview with CCTV, it is simply not an interview. If they would have just called it a presentation, I would come into it more trusting. But when I saw that she wasn't actually there and it wasn't an interview, that, you know, they simply had the questions, and I think it was a lot. I think that too was about 50 questions. I don't know if it was a different set of questions from the ones that Duty Ron had the other day, but I'm pretty sure they ran through every single one of them, which is impressive. But also, they would have had time to prepare, so they would have been able to prep their answers. And one of the things that struck me the most and strikes me the most about that entire presentation was which one? There were a couple, but really they both had the exact same answer to the question about who was Kiely in a fight with? What was the name that was bleeped out when Doug said it, when he got that text and read it out on the boat? And they both said, no idea. or I have no idea. I'd have to go back and watch it again. Whatever it was, I'm pretty sure they said the exact same words as each other. And that oftentimes is an indication that people planned together what they were going to say. And it sounds so bogus for them to say they have no idea. I'm sure that at the very least they have an idea, but I'm also almost 100% confident that they both know exactly who that was and that they're just not willing to say. So, if you're going to lie about one thing, then nothing you say, you've just lost all of your credibility. So I don't trust that interview because, again, it's only an air quotes interview. And then the actual interview that they did on Duty Ron with Ed Wallace, I remembered his name as soon as we were done with this morning's video. That was a real interview. But again, Nick's out there like he's by himself. And then Devin comes out literally from behind the scenes when the guys are all patting each other on the back and thanking each other and saying, no, you're the greatest hero of them all. No, you are. No, really, you are. No, actually, it's you. And that to me was just so tacky and such a waste of time. Like, aren't we here to talk about Kiely? Aren't we here to talk about this girl who is no longer with us, whose life was stolen? Why are we still talking about who's a better hero out of all you guys? And again, I don't like to criticize because these people all do good things and do good work, but they best not be glory seeking. And to me, that's a lot of what it felt like they were doing on Duty Ron was glory seeking. And that's disgusting. Really, I think that their goal, Nick Wren and Devin's goal, was to clear the decks for Nick's new project. So it's called like Oregon Dive Team or something like that, Oregon Divers. And it was like a jumping off platform to say, okay, we're done with that. Let's move forward. Now you guys know about my new company. And you know what? We're not here to learn about your new company. We're not here for you to self-promote. We're here to get to the cold, hard truth about what happened to Kiely. Moms first always, and sorry, I missed so many of your comments. I love you guys. Love bugs, I was going to say. Like you're my kiddos, right? Well, they were in the boat with Doug. If they weren't in earshot, they wouldn't have heard either. The editor of the film would know who Doug said was in a fight with Kiely. So no, they weren't in the boat. He was in the boat alone. I think Nick was in a different boat and Devin was doing the sound. So Devin would have heard while doing the sound. And when they tried to say that they never spoke about anything, that when they got together, they didn't speak about the case, that they all just were like dudes sitting around quietly, not communicating because dudes don't communicate. That was so nuts. Like, no, you're in a search and rescue mission or a search and recover mission. You're going to be communicating about every single thing to try to meet your goal. So I don't believe that. I straight up don't believe that they weren't communicating. Also, just saying that, well, we're just volunteers. We don't even know what law enforcement divisions were out there because they didn't have name tags or FBI or whatever written on their shirts. And again, that to me sounds like a straight up lie. Of course they're going to know who's out there because they're all out there. So people talk, people are human, they say things. They're going to be like, talking about all the different squads, agencies, divisions, departments. They're going to be talking about that. So plus they know from the last 16 months of reflecting on it, they know who was out there. They know it was like the FBI, the US Marshals, the Homeland Security, the Truckee PD, the Nevada County Sheriff's Department, the Placer County Sheriff's Department, and some others. Off the top of my head, I want to say they had 15 different um, entities out there, and I want to say 50 federal agents and over 200 altogether. And they're trying to say that that car was in the water for 2 weeks while they were all standing around kicking the dirt and not figuring out where is it. So this is why I think it wasn't in there, is because if it were in there, then some of the passersby would have been like, hey, there it is. Can I assist? I see it right there. So I really, it's my opinion that the car was not there until a couple of days before AWP found it, maybe 24 or 48 hours max, really. And I think it was Upchurch was the first to say that. So I want to give him credit, because when he said it, I thought he was nuts. I really did. As much as I was down with Upchurch, that was one of the things that I was like, no, just like Kiely's not real. I thought it was a weird thing to say. It took a long time for me to realize that he might have a point. And now here I am thinking that he was right on the money. Of course, the whole thing with Kiely's not real, that was a whole nother kettle of fish, and it drives me nuts when people bring that up and say, well, we'll just throw Upchurch in the trash because he said that horrible thing. And it's always been my opinion that he only said that to get people riled up, to stir the pot, to get people upset so they'd start saying crazy things that they shouldn't say to try to counteract the crazy thing that he just said. And it worked. It worked right away. You know, you had Ronnie, you had Milo, you had Zanime. They all took the bait, in my opinion. But that was hearsay from a text. Oh, absolutely, mom's first, and thank you for pointing that out. Hey, Hard Truth, what's up? What is up? So why did they even put it in their video? That's my question. They did it for some reason, but what? I think they were trying to get the controversy. They were trying to get people excited and interested, and just that whole like anticipation and what true crime is all about, which it's not really about solving the cases. I mean, it is, but once they're solved, you move straight to the next case to solve it, because it's more like climbing a mountain or doing a puzzle. It's not the destination, it's the journey. So they want to hook people. And I think they really played up that drama to hook people, which is why it only occurred to me in the last 48 hours that maybe they're the ones who put Nick G up to his little stint. And I do think it's a stint, because the police never talked about that person or that interview. I'd say they did a good job. If that was all fake, they did a really good job. They had me, Miss Skeptic, completely convinced for 12 months, roughly. So again, I was skeptical to start out, but quickly they won me over, and I couldn't understand why so many people were questioning him all year. And then it was only, like I said earlier today, Crime Watch with Kenny, who really convinced me that Nick G was way too Mr. Fancy Pants kid to be roadside assistant dude. So let's see. So yeah, the fight. Right. I thought Devin was in Nick's boat, not Doug's. Was he in the boat? I know he is the sound guy. I thought I thought Nick and Doug were each in a boat by themselves. I could be totally wrong. I haven't watched it in a while. Narcissism, the Hard Truth says, yeah. So Jared, who is the brains behind AWP, he wasn't there, but he was still the brains behind that whole thing. And yeah, they're again swooping in, being the glory seekers, trying to play the hero, and bringing all the attention to themselves. So this is the thing that really drives me nuts with these interviews the last few days with CCTV and Duty Ron. they keep emphasizing how they're volunteers, and they try to imply that they're not getting paid, that this is volunteer. It's volunteer from a certain standpoint, but they are getting paid internally from their AWP funds that are raised on YouTube. I cannot imagine how much revenue they were already making. And then the Kiely Rodni case probably doubled, tripled, quadrupled what they were already making. And they were already multi-million, I'm pretty sure. And then the whole thing came crashing down. I'm sure it was still bringing in revenue, just not that ginormous like Kiely Rodni took it to. Um, that just brought their profile so high. And then, of course, there were people that saw them as the heroes for finding her. And then, what I think is some of the most important information of the whole investigation is how badly they were treated from law enforcement, the family, and virtually everyone in Truckee. Jaeger Maestro, and his whole, they're just a bunch of clout chasers. Like, dude, why would you say that? Like, of course, you're going to be upset about your ex girlfriend, on and off again girlfriend, being deceased. But why would you call them clout chasers? Although, as I'm saying that, now I'm thinking, yeah, he's got a good point, right? See, this is the problem with being gaslit and then trying to ungaslight yourself. And thank you, Shan, for that little catchphrase. I haven't used that in a long time. Let's all ungaslight ourselves together. Is that as you're trying to ungaslight yourself, you see it from all angles, because you should try to see it from all angles. So, yeah, in a sense, I think Jägermeister hit the nail on the head. Clout chasers. Unfortunately, they had me fooled too back then, that they were just a bunch of good guys being heroes. And then, okay. Oh, Hard Truth, you're so sweet. You look great, Justice. It's just the lighting, really. I'm trying so hard to keep it simple and do this with my cell phone, and I'll have my laptop back hopefully in less than a week. We shall see. They also said he was in the water 10 minutes. They didn't show that much. Furthermore, if you come across a crime scene, why not document everything? Blonde Gypsy, such a great comment. I want to read it a second time. They also said he was in the water 10 minutes. They didn't show that much. And furthermore, if you come across a crime scene, why not document everything? So one of the things that they said, I think in the Judy Ron interview, or maybe this was in Shan's live last night that someone else said it, was if they had only known what was going to happen after they found her remains, they may have handled the situation differently. So at that point, they had no idea, allegedly, the corruption that might have been going on, in my opinion, right? But actually, I think they did. I think that they knew that stuff was funky already. They had all kinds of information already. Of course, they didn't know the extent. They didn't know the heat that would come on them. They might not have known anything about Jared's legal problems that he already knew about, because first of all, he's the one who committed the crimes. And second of all, I believe it was February and March of 2022 that he was served the paperwork. I don't know if that was a lawsuit or just part of it, but he knew well before, which is, I think, the reason why he didn't show up was because he saw Kiely's case as a cash cow, and he didn't want to damage the case by being there with all this controversial garbage of his criminal history. So, let's see. So, yeah. So that would be why they didn't document everything, because their job was, in their words, just to try to locate her, in and out and done. and then leave it up to law enforcement. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. No, I'm just kidding. I think that's their answer. That's me trying to surmise their answer. Don't care about docs anymore. Autumn, very, very good comment, in my opinion. Yeah, the documentation is crud, huh? What's up, Autumn? Hard Truth says. Um, and mom's first always, or mom first always. Law enforcement saw AWP's video in their van. Law enforcement might have told them to cut the video. Need a beer? Autumn. It's nice to see you, Hard Truth. It's been forever. I'm sorry I've been too busy to drop into your lives. My life, my YouTube. Don't you love having a channel? And when you have a channel, you've got to nurture your own channel, and it's hard to take in too much other content creators' information. And as you guys know, Squirrel Squad is who I try the hardest to keep up with. There's a few others. I've been keeping up lately with True Crime Rocket Science, which is an old favorite. He's where I learned about the Meredith Kircher case, which a lot of people know it as the Amanda Knox case. And it's not, it's the Meredith Kircher case. But he is awesome. And I wanted to mention him for a minute because I lost interest in watching his content for a while because of the tit for tat that him and Upchurch were in. And Upchurch got into that tit for tat with Shogun Cinema Shogun, and I think Casey from Living Lake Time, and probably others. And at that point in time, Upchurch was new to me, but I thought Upchurch was, and I still do think he's a stand-up guy. And these other content creators that I thought were stand-up dudes too, I was very disappointed in seeing them get into this juvenile back and forth, trying to prove who's better than who. And I know that that's something that's been going on lately it probably is always going on, just different little crews of people. So in the Kiely Rodni content creator community, that's been going on more with female content creators. And it's almost refreshing to remember, oh yeah, the dudes were doing that too. It's not just a chick thing, because it is annoying. And in some sense, you have to speak your truth. If it's truth to you, you have to speak it. But in another sense, we're all better off, I think, turning a blind eye. Maybe. I mean, depending on the severity of the situation. Excuse me, I have really bad cotton mouth, and I apologize for missing so many of your comments. No time to channel hop. You popped in my feed. Oh, well, I'm so glad, Hard Truth. Yeah, I do check out your videos, and they are still sharp and spot on. Hard Truth, you just need to be a bit crazy to follow this case, because it will make you crazy the more you know. LOL. Well, Mom First Always, you're following Idaho 4 too, aren't you? Because that's Hard Truth's main case. I don't know if that's your only case, Hard Truth, but that case is just as crazy. In some ways it's crazier, in some ways Kiely Rodni's crazier. There's a lot of crossover. The main thing, and I think a real good point of focus for our conversation right now, is the police corruption, because we were talking about these other cases this morning, and I didn't have everybody's name right in front of me. So Sue Neil Fraser is the woman in Australia who was put in prison for allegedly murdering her husband 12 years ago or so. And she's since been exonerated and ordered to not speak anything about anything. Okay? Boston area police department, a small town of Canton, Massachusetts. Let's see, almost 2 years ago, January 29th of 2022, John O'Keefe, an officer with the Canton Police Department, was found deceased in a snowstorm outside of one of his coworkers' homes. And they were having a party in there, so there were a whole bunch of coworkers. And his on and off again girlfriend, Karen Reed, was charged with vehicular homicide, and I think she was drunk driving, and they were able to convince her that she hit him in the trauma of seeing him deceased and covered in the red stuff. And just a couple days ago, the CCTV footage of her bumping another car with her back rear tail light and having a little fender bender in the parking lot that she was leaving. That was a really bad piece of evidence for the police department, who's been trying to say that she that the little dents in the broken taillight happened from her backing over John O'Keefe. So this is a real active case that's in the courts, and Karen Reed is being very vocal, and she's coming out of court and talking to people on the court steps. And she kind of has to. Like, what does she have to lose? You know, they're trying to frame her. If police want to frame you for something, you really don't have a snowball's chance in hell, no matter who you are, even if you're another police officer, in my opinion. Dean Gillespie is a perfect example of that here in Ohio. He's the guy that I talk about often, who was convicted for SA, for 3 SAs, 2 different incidences. And after serving over 20 years, he was exonerated. And then about a year ago, he won a $45 million settlement from the state of Ohio for being wrongfully imprisoned. But the detective who knowingly set him up, like, he knew he didn't do it. He knew he'd already been cleared. He knew it wasn't possible for him to have done it. And he destroyed some of the evidence. He suppressed some of the evidence. His friend wanted the job that Dean Gillespie had at General Motors. And so his friend got the job because Dean went to prison. Like, seriously, that was the motivation behind that. And it sounds so nuts, because it is. Like, you can't wrap your head around this. And this Mr. Gillespie guy, being the stand-up man that he is, when he was finally exonerated, his biggest concern was for the victims, who thought that they got justice, who thought that they had safety, who had neither. That was his biggest concern, not his own lost years and hardship. So, you know, it's disgusting. The detective who set him up, who framed him for that, has not gotten any reprimand, even though it's been proven that he framed him and set him up. And people that don't see these cases firsthand think that you're just a crazy conspiracy theorist when you talk about people getting framed and set up. It happens more than it should. It should never happen. It should absolutely never happen. Let me get one more drink and try to keep up with you guys. The case is nuts. Yes, harsh one, Shelly. Really focus on Kiely. Oh, mom's first always, I know. I try. I do want to talk a little bit about these other cases because they tie back in. Especially with the corruption. So, but I also appreciate the prompt. Absolutely. Wow, 20 years and $45 million. Yeah. Dean Gillespie, you can Google him and read all about it. So there's a special on, I think it was, is it Amazon Prime that has the documentary about Sue Neal Frazier? That is the channel that has All the Queen's Horses documentary. about that town of Dixon, Illinois. So I looked that up after I did the video this morning, and I was mistaken. Dixon, Illinois, where Rita Crundwell stole $37,000 a day, every day, for 22 years. Rita Crundwell was the city manager of Dixon, Illinois for about 22 years. She racked up over $53 million, $37,000 a day, 365 days a year for 22 years straight. That town is a lot smaller than I thought it was. I was thinking it was about 100,000 more than the 15,000 that it is. So that's just that much crazier. What the hell? I don't know if you're getting mad at me, Mom, first, always. If you are, I understand. Or if you're mad about the corruption or what. Corruption, autumn. Let's see. People who don't know about these cases think I'm crazy. You know, I know I'm not naive. I know a lot of people think, oh, that Justice A to Z channel, she's just a conspiracy theorist. And I said this a few days ago. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I wish that that were the case. I honestly wish that I was in left field about Kiely Rodni. I wish that I was in left field about Idaho. And I wish I was in left field about Maui. Because the world would be a much less dark, sinister place. And maybe I am in left field about one or two or all three of those cases. But I don't think so. I'm going to keep looking at it from all angles. And Kiely Rodni, and if you are directing that right to me, Mom, first, always, what the hell? I'm just going to take it like you are. And rather than being offended, I'm just going to try to refocus on Kiely. Because, you know, that's why I started my channel. She is absolutely why I started my channel. And let's see. Hey, Snorky Porky. That's a new one to me. And yeah, I'm sick of the lies. I'm sick of the gaslighting. I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of the violence against women. That's so disgusting. And Kiely wasn't a woman. Kiely was a kid. Kiely was a child. So violence against women is really disgusting, but violence against children, even more gross. And then for people to vilify the search and rescue team or the search and recover team that located her, that is, I think, some of the most indicative information that everything is askew, that people never thanked them, the family never thanked them, the community never thanked them, they never got the reward money. We all know that Upchurch did deliver the Hellcat, or actually I think he took the amount of money and donated it to AWP. And that was right when all that stuff was going on with Jared in his court case. And that pervert and his crimes and his criminal history could have derailed the Kiely Rodni case altogether, you guys. I mean, they were the only people that really knew what was going on. And the whole point of bringing up all that legal battle at that point in time was to try to discredit AWP, because they were desperate. They had nothing. And AWP were the people who had the information. So they tanked them. They threw dog mess all over them, basically. And that was pretty easy to do with the crimes that Jared had committed. And then all of his just really tacky way of trying to talk his way around it, and all those emails to his cousin, and the way he tried to talk to the people of AWP, the way he tried to talk to the public. He is, in my opinion, one complete narcissistic criminal, and probably should be in jail because isn't he married with kids? Like, that's pretty frightening. That's pretty frightening. Harsh One says, leave our children alone. And Tuck Frucky, truth for Kiely, truth for them all. Yes, he gave Jared the 100K and then the Hellcat to Nick or Doug. Yeah, I think Doug got the Hellcat. That's what I thought. Forgot which one got the Hellcat. I'm pretty sure it was Doug. Hard truth. You're worse than me, Snork. Please hit the like button. Yeah, Moms First Always, thank you. Please hit that like button. And don't forget to share. Make sure you're still subscribed. Turn on your notification bell to ring if you like. Let's see. Fred Field says, Dixon is about 100 miles west of me on US 30. I used to drive through there going to college in Iowa before I-80 was completed. Yeah, it's a really small town, 15,000 people. And man, that Rita Crundwell was from there. She graduated the high school there. She did, like, I don't know if it was an internship or just a day where she visited the city government her senior year. And she must have saw something because she got her foot in the door there, and she stayed for 22 years from the time she graduated high school with just a high school degree, and stole $53 million from them before they figured it out. Pretty crazy. And for her to be a local, in my opinion, that kind of makes it even worse than if she was from somewhere else and came in and stole all their money. Man, I got a tickle in my throat. One sec. And Mom First Always, what the hell had to do with the guy who was in jail for 20 years? Not about you. Oh, okay. Mom's First Always. Hold on. I'm glad. I was like, I don't want Mom First Always to be mad with me, but if you were, then that's okay. And sorry to slurp. I do like to be respectful and responsive too. Man, I got a really bad tickle in my throat. I'm probably gonna have to wrap up. I like to consider what people are saying, even when they're being critical and unkind. I still like to consider it because, you know, I don't want my hurt feelings to get in the way of me considering their perspective, which I think that most often there is a valid perspective. If somebody's just being a troll, then there's probably not a valid perspective. They're trying to create drama where there is none. But thank you so much for clarifying that. I'm so sick of this happening and they don't investigate or they cover it up. Truth for Kiely. I'm out, Justice. We'll be back when I can speak intelligently about this case. Happy holidays. Well, Hard Truth, welcome. And let me just address that for a second because that's thrilling. I feel like all of us, and again, I can't speak for all of us, I can only speak for me. I think that it's true for others in the quest for justice for Kiely, that we are all very welcoming of new people coming in and getting on the case. There is some infighting, which pretty much happens all the time, but really, I think most of the infighting centers around the concern that some folks are trying to distract from the case. So just so you know that, Ms. Hard Truth, you would be an asset, in my opinion. And, you know, you're your own queen, but I kind of make it light of it and make a joke of it that Squirrels on Fire is kind of the, the head honcho of the Squirrel Squad, and I am just honored to be able to include myself conceptually in that little group of the Squirrel Squad. You know, I like to feel like we're a very open group, that we love newcomers, and I'm sure that there's people who don't think that that's true. But I think anybody who really puts their best foot forward and is sincere, that it's all cool. It's okay if you make a mistake. It's okay if you offend somebody. Shanda is Squirrels on Fire, and her and I have offended each other, and, you know, given time off from each other, you know, thought we were done with each other. I don't remember exactly when, probably about 9 months ago. I remember what it was about, but that's not important. What's important is that you're going to have conflicts. You know, if you're working hard with other people, you're going to have conflicts, and that's okay. No, not mad with you at all. Oh, Mom first always. I'm so glad, because I was still going to send you your prize anyway. Don't worry. But I was just like, oh, animosity is not fun. But sometimes it happens, and it's essential. And what's more important to me is to be upfront and direct and honest about it, and then to work through it and get to the other side. So, yeah, thank you. Because I was like, yeah, I am getting off track, aren't I? Kiely, Kiely, Kiely. We always want to get back on our Kiely case. And the tickle in my throat went away, I think. I don't want to jinx it. But I have been really thirsty. Oh, it's because I took an allergy pill last night. I hadn't taken one in a while. And then it dries you up like a desert, doesn't it? I'm glad I remembered that what it was, because I was like, why am I slurping my iced tea and then moving on to my water and still having that? Okay. So yeah, and if people get mad with me, that's fine. You know, I don't take it personally. I get mad with people, and it's not about them, it's about me. Or sometimes people think I'm mad with them when I'm mad about other crap in the world, and it has nothing to do with them. But anyway, back to the point. Harsh One says, get some honey, Jazz, for the throat. Good idea. I love honey. Absolutely love honey. Very good idea. So let me look over my notes. Oh, I'm so glad that I looked down at them, because Delphi and Evansdale, um, you know, the Delphi case, we all know Richard Allen is maybe getting railroaded as the fall guy for the Delphi case. Evansdale is also a location that I think it was Fred Field said he's near. And I think it's Evansville and Evansdale. After my last live where somebody was correcting me, I looked it up and I found both. And it's like the same town, Evansdale, Evansville. It's like 118,000 people. Anyway, that's the town where two cousins, 8 years old and 10 years old, were done much like Libby and Abigail. And, oh, I wish I had their names, because it's so sad that they were victimized like that. Lyric Cook is one of them. She was the one who I couldn't read how I wrote Cook. I was like, what word is that? Elizabeth Collins, I think, was the 8-year-old, and Lyric Cook was 10 years old. So disgusting. It was 5 years before Delphi. I think Delphi happened in 2017. So this happened in 2012. An 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, you guys. And there's a lot of information if you're interested. I'm going to look more at that case, Elizabeth Collins and Lyric Cook, because I'm thinking it might have a lot to do with corrupt law enforcement. Why is it still unsolved? Why is it a cold case? 2 little kids? Are you kidding me? Like, one of them's half the age of Kiely? So gross. Kiely was 16 when whatever happened to her happened. It was a month before her 17th birthday. She would be 18 now. She would be in her second year in college. Can you imagine the music she probably would have produced over the last, is it 16 months? Am I doing my math right? I mean, that girl was so talented. I mean, seriously, seriously, seriously talented. I'm not just saying that. Anyone who is not familiar with her skill and talent, you can find a lot of her singing and playing instruments on YouTube. And I'm sure that some of our content creators have done um, specials where they just focus on her musical endeavors. I wonder, do you guys know, is there a video out there of all of her music? That should be done. Shan could do that. Shan should totally do that if she wants. I don't like to tell people what to do, but I definitely will try to suggest it to her and see what she thinks. I have a question. I put Kiely name in the website Truth Finders. It said Kiely, 18, Grass Valley, and relative Lindsay. Why? Very good question. I think, is that where Lindsay moved to? Maybe that's why. Yeah, I found a thing a couple weeks ago that said that all kinds of crazy stuff about Kiely. I took screenshots of it. Maybe I'll put one up as a community post because it was some whack information. Um, it was basically saying that she's still missing. And it was just weird. I mean, you find all kinds of crazy stuff on the internet. I know that. I know you have to take it all with a grain of salt, but it seemed like it was a major site, and maybe it was just a sham site. The boyfriend harm or Ronald Reagan, Fred Field. Oh, the home of Ronald Reagan. Thank you. That is the city of Dixon is the hometown of Ronald Reagan, the one where Rita Crondwell stole the $53 million. I think that's the one you're talking about. Lindsay is her mom. Ugh, home. Yeah. Mom first always. I put her name in a search and it said she was an American actress, but that was last year. So bizarre. Some of what we see is, I'm sure, artificial intelligence. So that's some of the danger with artificial intelligence is that it's even dumber than the rest of us. Like it thinks it knows stuff that it just plain don't know. But this is why it's so important to know what it is you're looking for before you do a Google search or Bing or DuckDuckGo or however it is that you research for information. You need to have some parameter of what it is you're looking for because it'll take you all down that garden primrose path to the rabbit holes and back again if you allow it. There's a lot of conspiracy theories on the internet, and there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of disinformation, and some of it is really innocent, like when Caden Young passed away in the Idaho 4 case from the overdose in Western Washington. And there's two Caden Youngs at Idaho University at U of I. Um, very close to the same age, and they both played on the football team. So that's crazy. Like, you'd think that's a conspiracy right there, right? There's so much crazy stuff with the Moscow case, and I'm not going to get into it because we're already coming up on an hour, and I feel like we need to wind down. But let me keep up with you guys too. Evansville, if you put Dale in to a Google search, Google automatically loads Evansville if you look close, figuring you typed wrong. Well, I've looked and I've seen things that say both. So I'm not going to argue with you. I believe you because you're from there and you know. But again, it gets back to what I was just saying about how wackadoodle it can be to Google stuff. Because after the live where you were correcting me and I figured you were right, and then I found all this information that I had found before that said the other, and I was just like, because I was Googling both, and I thought maybe it was two separate towns. It was really nutty. And sometimes towns change their names, so maybe it transitioned. Um, I don't know. That is why I put the question out there. It is hard to know. I can't think the Truth Finder's website is reliable. Well, I was telling you guys a couple of days ago, I don't know if you were here, Moms First Always, that when I first found out about Snopes, I was kind of like, huh, that's weird. You know, it's a website to find out the truth about any situation that is debatable, allegedly. And so, right off the bat, the first two things that I Googled that I can't remember what they were, let's just say it was JFK and let's say it was the Beatles. Did John Lennon or Paul McCartney pass away in the 60s? Let's say it was those two. Um, it just was oversimplistic and very definitive. And if there is a huge cover up, it's not like there's going to be a website that says there was a huge cover up, because those websites are all controlled by some entities that may have some form of government uh, influence, let's say. So if there's a conspiracy, you're not going to find out on the internet that it's one way or the other. Um, but anyway, with Snopes, as soon as I learned about it, I was like, yeah, this is a joke. It kind of seemed to me like whatever Snopes said, the opposite was true. That's just my opinion. And I'm going to wrap up, you guys. We're just over an hour. I love you guys so very much. I thank you. As we wrap up, I'm going to give away my new little babies. So the first person to comment, as soon as I hit the end of stream and it switches over from the chat, it switches to comment. First person to comment will win the tiny one-legged pogo stick elf nutcracker earrings. And I'll just need you to email me your address. And my email is justice4kiely@gmail.com. So here we go. Good luck to everybody who wants them. And these are something that I can probably make more of. So if people love them like I love them, then I'll make more of them. So I'm definitely going to make another pair for myself. All right, you guys, good luck. Oh, forgot to remind you to eat your veggies. I don't know if you caught that at the tail end of my last one. And eat your fruit, eat your veggies, stay hydrated, get your exercise, relax, put your feet up, let your hair down. I hope you feel productive. I hope you feel just confident and content and kind. I hope you feel like people are kind to you. And what else is super important? The veggies, the veggies, the veggies, and protein. All right, you guys. Oh, and get your rest. I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Sending you light, sending you love, and here we go. Good luck. May you be the